Hello. How is everyone? So, I hope that there is a couple out there because you are joining us for our very first YouTube Live video. We started just now, and I hope that people are seeing this and it's not just me talking to myself. I will let you know, everyone, that I have been having a little bit of internet difficulty today because of the really bad weather. So hopefully this is going to be okay. If there is anyone out there, it would be great if you can just comment because I'm really unsure if this is actually working at the minute. So it would be really, really great if you could. There we go. Do we have people? Okay. So there we go. Do we have people? Okay. So the lovely Nicole is behind the Altenew badge. And we will be picking a winner from the comments today. So a $15 gift certificate will be going from the comments today. So a $15 gift certificate will be going to one of the commenters. So I really do hope that you comment as well. So I hope that you are all good and that you're having a great week. It's Thursday. It might be Friday, wherever you are in the world, and I hope that you're good. So to celebrate the hop that we're having, so the Refresh Your Alcohol Markers hop, we will be doing a little bit of colouring. So I have some stamped images ready. The reason being is I'm going to be using the Permanent Black from Altenew. And I do recommend that you let this set for about 20 minutes before you use your alcohol markers on it, and then it won't bleed. So that's why I've stamped these, and then we can get on with it. So first up, I am going to be using one of the little images. Hi everyone, I'm so glad that you joined me and it's not just me on my own. So I'm using one of the beautiful little images from the Celebrations set. Oh, hi Debbie. I hope you're having a good time on holiday. So I'm using this set. Sorry that it's... my packaging didn't come with packaging, so... Let's just put it behind a white sheet and then you can see. So this is the Celebration set. And I'm going to use this beautiful bouquet down here. So I thought it would be great if we can do a little bit of simple colouring and then we'll move on to other kinds of colouring as well. Hi, Urim. So I'm just going to pop you guys down so you can see what's happening. Okay, so I do recommend, oops, sorry, just trying to straighten you up, that you pop a sheet of paper behind yourself when colouring with alcohol markers. Reason being, there's 2 points. So one, it's going to protect your work surface. So if you are stamping at your kitchen table and you don't want to mark it, you need to pop something down. But also it helps with the alcohol marker not coming back up through the paper. So if I just grab a pen and I'll just add a bit of ink here. I could have already just done this on here, but you can see that I've added some paper through and it's come through. So it's there, but it also helps the ink not coming back up through the paper. So if you're working on a non-porous surface like this glass mat I have here, the ink would then come back up through the paper and then it might spoil your colouring. So you don't want that. I'm just going to move my pencils out there. They're a wee bit distracting with all that colour. Yeah, I love the Celebration set. So I'm going to turn it. So I'm going upside down, but you can see what's happening there. So I'm going to colour it in. And I'm going to use the marker set A with just one of the ones from marker set C. So this is the Mango Smoothie. I just wanted a yellow, so I've just grabbed one from marker set C. Okay, so I've got A and B. And I'm just going to do a bit of colouring, and then I will show you different techniques later on. So I'm just going to pop my colours out. I've got them all here, and as you can see, I do keep them in this, and I do store my markers standing up. So some people say that you need to do it on its side, but I've found no problem with mine being on its bottom. So it's completely up to you how you want to store them. So I'm going to start with my coral berry, and I'm going to be colouring in the larger flowers first. Hi everyone. Driffer, we are trying something out. So we hope it goes correctly, and we hope that you do like it over here, but let us know what your thoughts are as well. It would be great to have some feedback on that as well. So I'm going to colour all of these little flowers with the coral berry in the centre. And I think this one over here is a little flower as well. So I'm just going to add some to the base of that, and this one up here as well. Because it's pretty sketchy, you don't have to worry about it too much. Oh, so better notifications on YouTube. Okay, there we go, we have a plus. I'm then going to take my Frosty Pink, and I'm just going to go over that colour that we've added, and I'm just going to colour in the rest. So as you can see, I am colouring you like you would usually, you know, a back and forth motion. And because these are alcohol markers, they're not going to leave those horrible little lines that you usually get when you have your child's pens and you go back and forth and then you end up with lots of lines. My daughter has now taken it to using my alcohol markers because she doesn't like those lines either. So I'm just colouring in these, and you can see how quick and easy it is. And we do have a little bit of darkness in the centre of those flowers. But if you want to make it a little bit darker, we can do. So we can take the ruby red and then pop that round. And because we've already got a layer of ink down, these are going to blend much more easily with each other. The markers are refillable. Yeah, we've released all of the refills, and you can get them at the Altenew store for all of your alcohol markers. So I've gone around that again, and you're going to want to go over the darkest colour that you've just put down and then with the lighter colour, and it will blend it out. Okay. And you can see that if you do layer it as well, you will get a darker shade because these are translucent. So you can make it a little bit darker the more layers that you do put down onto your image. Oops. There we go. I can show you these now. I'm sorry if I am missing comments. They're kind of popping up on the screen and then just dropping away after a couple of seconds. So if I haven't got my head up at the right time, I will miss comments. So I'm really sorry about that. But if I do miss it, please let me know again and I'll see what I can do. Okay, so there we go. Yes, I'm sure there is tips there. Nicole will let us know if that is correct, please. I'm then going to colour in my leaves. So I'm just going to use some lighter shades. So I'm going to be using the Forest Glades and also the Frayed Leaf. Again, these are both from size, both from set A. And I'm just flicking from the base of the leaves for this. Yep, I thought we did. I thought we had the tips in stock. Okay, so I've just added a bit to the bases. I'm then going to go over with my Frayed Leaf. And I'm sorry if I go quiet as well, because I think colouring's a really relaxing thing to do. So, kind of shuts me up sometimes. I think I might actually take some more colours from elsewhere in these sets as well, just to make it pop a little bit more. But I'm going to colour this bit here, so the ribbon in red. And I'm just going to use two different reds. So I have the Grapevine and the Ruby Red, again from the A. So these are using the same colours, the same colour family. So you can create different looks with a pink or even a red. So it's totally up to you how you want to use your markers. They do have two ends. So we have the brush, which I'm using, and we also have the bullet as well. Oh, I forgot to do the stems. Doesn't take a lot to do those stems though, does it? Okay, I'm going to add a center into those little flowers now. So I'm going to grab my mango smoothie from set C. Just dab a little bit into the centers. And I'm going to colour this bit. I was going to do it in blue, but I'm going to do these ones in blue and I'm going to do these ones in purple. So I'm going to grab some purples from the set B, sorry. And I've got my Midnight Violet, Deep Iris and Lavender Fields. And I'm going to start with my darkest. And instead of colouring this time, I'm going to be doing little dots just to give me an effect of a little bit of lavender possibly poking down this bouquet. So I've just added little dots, and as you can see, I haven't coloured that the whole of that sketchy image in. I'm going to take the next colour down. So this is the Deep Iris. Again, a little bit of pointillism here. So the art of colouring with dots is called pointillism, so that's what we're doing. And then I'm going to take the Lavender Fields. Okay. I might even leave some white space as well. I'm not sure. See how it turns out. I might do too many dots. But there we go. So you can see that we've got the little bit of lavender popping down. And I'm going to do the same kind of technique, the pointillism technique that we used here for these bits. And I'm going to use some... I'm just going to use two colours this time. I'm going to use Ocean Waves, and I don't want the dusk, I want the Sea Glass, please. There we go, Sea Glass. Yeah, we do have a fabulous class that's going to be working with the Reinkers. The lovely Sarah Newman, who does Facebook Lives over on our Facebook channel. She is going to be the one that is hosting the class. So it's really exciting, and I'm excited to see what kind of techniques that she comes up with as well. Okay, so there you go. And you can see that colouring with markers doesn't have to be hard. You can see that I didn't use any crazy techniques other than the pointillism down there, which is really good. Hi there, Chris. Bonjour. And you can see that it's really quite good just to quickly colour in. And then you could die cut this if you wanted to with the matching dies and then pop it on lots of different projects. So that is number one. And now I'm going to try and do a little bit more of detailed colouring. So, okay, I have the poinsettia from the Festive Poinsettia stamp set. So this is the stamp set here. Sorry, my voice is going a bit croaky. So this is the poinsettia here, and you get all different sentiments as well as the beautiful outline stamp. So you can use all of your outline stamps with your alcohol markers. And I think for this one, I'm going to go with a different kind of red. So I'm going to go with the reds out of set C. So I have Crimson, Velvet, and I want another one. I want the Rouge. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to show you the technique here first. I'm going to be using a, thank you everyone, I'm going to be using a flicking technique rather than the colouring technique. So instead of doing this, we are going to be flicking. So you're going to want to find which way is more comfier for you. I find that going away from myself really works better. So when we go, pretend this is a petal. Let's just draw one in, shall we? There we go. Fantastic drawing there, Lydia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the base of the petal and I'm going to work outwards. And I'm just going to flick. So this means I'm going to get a fainter, softer line at the top of my flick and more of a broader at the base because we're putting the pen down and we're flicking it upwards. Okay, hopefully we can see how that's going. So just popping it down and then flicking. And then to colour it in, I am just going to take a colour further down and I'm going to go over what I've already done, but I'm going to flick further into the image. So once you've got, I would practice on how you're going to flick, because then you can control how you do small flicks over the large ones as well. So I was just going to go over that. Okay, and as you can see that it is blending, but if you want to blend it some more, just go over that line again. And even to get it even more blended, you could dab in the ink if you would like to. And that's going to give you a really good blended image. And then you're going to take your lightest colour and go over the whole of the image. And that is going to blend everything beautifully together. The Amazing is fantastic with colouring with alcohol markers. So if you want any inspiration, I want to check her out because she is awesome. So you can see there how we've got that. And I'm going to try and replicate that over here. Okay, so I'm going to take my velvet and I have it with the brush. And I am going to just go out from here. So I'm going to go onto the base and I am just doing tiny, tiny, tiny little flicks on this one. But I then want to go down this stem. So I'm just going to turn my image. I do find it's easier if you turn your image rather than try to flick in a different way. So I'm just going to add that. Flick. Okay. I'm then going to take my colour that's down from that one. So this one is the crimson. And again, I'm going to flick further out of the image. And I'm going down this line as well. Okay. Again, I'm turning my work. It's much more easy to turn rather than try and flick in a different way. And then I'm going to take my rouge. And I'm going to go over that whole part of the image. Again, you can either flick or you can give this a good old colour if you want to. Okay. If you want to darken it up, again, we can take the colours again. So I'm just flicking further in because I didn't realise how far I needed to go into this image. So it's easier to add more than it is to take it away. Okay, so I've added the velvet again. And now this one is the crimson. The lovely adds some beautiful folds to the sides of leaves, and I have forgotten how to do it. So I'm going to have to watch the lovely again to make sure my colouring is up to scratch. Okay, so maybe we can add in a little bit of detail to the edge of this petal. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add tiny, tiny little flicks from the side going in towards the petal. I'm not adding them everywhere, I'm just adding them here and there, and I will pop this up in a second so you can see what's happening. This is some Neenah Solar White. This is the lighter cardstock as well. This is the £80, I think it is. Okay, so I just want to add that in a little bit more, and then I can lift it up and I can show. Tried to add in some detail to the edges there. So like I would recommend Neenah or a really super smooth cardstock, and it would help that if it is white, if you want to colour with the pen, so you can get a true representation of the pens. Just to add a little bit extra detail, I'm just going to take a pencil, and I'm just using the same technique as I did before, and I'm just using the pencil just to add in some little flicks as well. Okay, but you don't need to do this. It looked great with the pens, but I just wanted to add a little bit of extra into there as well. So I will colour another one in now. Or maybe we should go for a green. Let's go for a green. Oops. I'm going to use exactly the same technique because the leaves and the petals on this flower are exactly the same. They just change colour at the top. So I'm going to take all 3 of my greens this time. And I'm going to start with my evergreen. So this is the darkest one. And I'm going to say that this one here is a leaf. So with as I was saying with poinsettias, it changes colour at the top. So it doesn't really matter where you start going green on this. If you wanted more, or if you wanted all of this to be red and then start the greens down here, that's totally up to you. So just play around with it. So again, I'm just going to add in from the base and I'm going to go around this leaf here. So to add extra depth, you are going to want to go around leaves that go over each other. And then I'm going to add my flicks from the base here. And then down the center of the leaf. I'm sure this has got to have a word for it. So if you guys know what the center of the leaf is called, it would be great if you could let me know if there's any botanists out there. So I'm kind of feathering this out now, just flicking away. Again, I'm going a little bit further because I know that I need to, because this leaf is larger than the petal. I'm then going to take my Forest Glades and I'm going to go over that dark shadow that we added under the leaf first, and this will blend that out. And then I'm going to go into the flicking. And as you can see, it doesn't really take that much time at all. Oh, thank you, Isa. I'm sorry I've missed something. Oh. Okay, so I'm just flicking away. And I'm then going to take my lightest colour. Oh, the vein. Thank you. That might work. Me just calling it the centre dippy bit, probably not the best way to describe it. And then got my lightest colour, which is the frayed leaf. And I'm just going over the whole of that leaf there. Okay. And because this is a really, it's quite a large change from the evergreen to the frayed leaf, I'm going to go over this quite a bit just to really tone that darkness down. Hi everyone. I hope that everyone's okay. Again, I'm going to take a little pencil. I just got one to the side. I don't even know if it matches, but I'm going to add in a little bit of added depth to that vein of the leaf. And with this, it's going to give you an idea of how far you need to go out with your flicking, because you've got kind of a guideline with the lines that are coming away from that vein. I'm just going to add in a little bit of detail to the side. So as you can see, I'm just adding 1 or 2 little flicks in various places along the side of the leaf. And that's going to make it kind of look like it's folded in. Maybe, hopefully. So there. I'm now going to colour this one in. So I'm not going to do the whole of this poinsettia because it would take me quite a little bit of time. But you know, we're gonna go again. So I'm just going to do this one here so you can see how the red goes from underneath a petal rather than one on top. So I need my colours. There we go. So again, I'm going to use the velvet. And because we are popping, we're colouring the petal that's underneath one already, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add a little bit of shadow just underneath that petal first. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of a line. Hopefully you can see. Okay, so once I have that in, I'm then going to do my flicking. So I'm going down the vein. Again, tiny little flicks here because it's such a small petal. Thank you, Annalisa. Yes, Gwen, they are. So I'm just going to then take the crimson, go a little bit further into that petal now to the edges. Okay. And then I am going to go over with the rouge, starting at the edge and then going in. And I'm going to take my pencil again. Again, you don't really need to use the pencil, but I like to. It adds a little bit of extra depth. Just going in to those edges. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can see how that's coming together. And you could definitely do this with a lighter ink and it will give you a no line watercolor, no line effect. Okay, I'm going to show you that, but with a different kind of stamp. So do you want me to colour, just let me know if you want me to colour in another leaf or petal, or do you want me to just move on? You had enough, Lydia. Just move on and start something else. So please let me know. The first answer I see, I will stick with it. Okay. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep going. Anyone? Okay, colour the stem. I can colour the stem. Okay, so I'm gonna colour my stem now, and I have the evergreen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my darkest colour where I think there's going to be most shade. So when I normally colour, I don't really worry about where the light source is coming from. I just try to... No, these ones are... Cheryl, these ones are artist markers. I just try and add it where I think it would be. So I'm just adding it under this petal here, around this stem, and under these leaves. Okay, and maybe I'm going to say that my shadow is going to be at this side of the stem as well. So I tried to add a little bit of shadow to one side. So that was the evergreen. I'm now going to take the Forest Glades and I'm just going to go down that, add a bit there. And as you can see, I've just gone down the side that I thought had the shadow with the evergreen. I haven't gone completely over the stem. Thank you, Beverly. Yeah. And it took me a while to work out where things are supposed to be going then, though. And then I'm going to be using the frayed leaf just to go down and then. Okay. So that is the stem. Might want to go down that a little bit more. I've got a bit of the shadow there that I didn't, a bit too much, but it's all right. So you can see how easy it is to colour the stem. Okay, so I'm just gonna, someone requested to do another petal, so I'll go on to the this big one here, and then I will move on to something else. So I've got a little bit of a stem there, so I'm just going to add it in using some evergreen. There we go. Being a little bit lazy. I'm sorry. Again, so I'm going to take my darkest colour, which is the velvet. I'm going from the base. Just moving my image around so I can get the flick how I want it to be. So I've got it on my base. I'm then going to go down the vein. Chris, it doesn't really matter where you want your flower to be or your leaves to be. I believe that, you know, if you wanted some more red down there, you could do it. It's your world. Make it exactly as colourful as you want it. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but I kind of think that maybe around here is maybe where the red bits are, and then past that bit, the rest are going to be green. I'm not sure, but that's the way I'm doing it. I'm now going to take my crimson, and I think I went a bit far with my velvet, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I'm just going to go a little bit further with my crimson. This one's just going to be really, really red, this petal leaf. And then my rouge. Oh, a rainbow. I could definitely show you how to do a rainbow, but you can definitely blend colours into each other that aren't necessarily supposed to blend, so I can show you that. Sorry. Tickly throat. Just grabbing my pencil just to add a few flicks from the centre of that petal. And then I want to add in a few, they're like dashed lines, maybe like stitches onto the side. You can rub them in a little bit if you want. Just to give me an effect that it's crinkly on the edges. So there we go. And you can see you just keep going petal by petal, and it quickly does come together. So when you look at it first, you might think, oh my, I'm not going to be able to do that. But if you think of it petal by petal, it's really quite simple, and I'm sure that you could all quickly come up with this beautiful colouring here. I shouldn't really say beautiful, it's like I'm blowing my own trumpet, so I'm sorry. Okay, I wanted to show you that you can actually mix colours that are not supposed to mix together. So maybe, I forgot to get my succulent stamp out, but never mind. I'm trying to think what I've got out, and it's not really what I wanted, so I'm just going to draw myself another leaf on there. And I am going to pretend that this is a succulent leaf. So I want pink on the edges and then green in this fleshy bit here. So I'm going to add in my pink colour first. So I'm going to grab some coral berry, and I'm just going to go around the outside edge with my coral berry. Okay. If you have the succulent stamp set, this works amazingly on it. Okay, so that is my bit there. Thank you, Annalise. Yeah. Oh, I can't blow my own horn, trumpet or whatever instrument, because I'm really rubbish at instruments. So that was the coral berry. I'm now going to take my frosty pink, and I'm just going to go over that, but I'm going to go a little bit further in. Okay, you can do this by flicking out inwards if you wanted to, but I just found it quicker just to do that line there. I'm now going to go and colour in this part here. So I have my beautiful evergreen, and I'm just going to add in my evergreen. I'm just going to pretend I know where the centre is. Yep, all markers are 15% off today if you did want to get your hands on them as well. So I've just added a centerpiece in there. I'm now going to take my Forest Glades, and I'm going to go over that, and I'm going to go nearly touching that pink there. Because I think that these two colours are, you know, a little bit too different to blend in with each other. I do want to blend that darkness out a little bit, so I'm just going to dab in some ink. And the lighter colour will bleach out the darker colour, because that's what's happening with the alcohol markers. Because there's more alcohol in the lighter colours, it's bleaching the darker one. I'm then going to take my frayed leaf, and I'm going to go into that pink now. So I am flicking in to that pink colour. Okay, and like I did before, I'm going to dab around the edges just to get some more of that ink flowing. Maybe a bit more of a flick. So the more you do want it to blend, the more ink you're going to have to lay down. Okay. Just add a bit more around there. Okay, and then I'm going to add a bit of pink back in. So this is the Frosty Pink. Oops. Okay. I'm flicking this one in because that line was a bit harsh, so I want to even it out. So I've flicked in from the edges that way, and I'm going to flick outwards that way. Okay. Yeah, we try to keep all of our ink colours the same, so you know that the Frosty Pink will coordinate with the Frosty Pink ink as well. So there we go. So you can see that you can mix two colours together that aren't necessarily supposed to go together. Right, I wanted to show you a bit of a no line technique, but this time with a solid stamp. Thank you, Virginia. Love you. So I've got one of my favorites. So this is the Floral Shadow Set. And I'm just going to go with this image up here. So I have lots of images on here. I'm just going to take that one off. And that's the one that we're going to use. So you might not think that you can actually stamp color solid images, but you definitely can. It just depends on the technique that you're going to use and the ink color as well. So I'm going to pop that onto my block. This is the large block from Altenew. This is one of my favorites. It's so big and sturdy, and I think it's really ergonomic. It's a good size, I think. So I've got my stamp, and I am going to ink it up. And I'm going to use limestone. So this is going to give me a really, really, really light colour. And I'm just going to ink this up. So you can use the first image on this one if you'd like to, or you can stamp it off and then stamp it onto your project. The ink will bleach this out a little bit, so I'm going to stamp one there and then stamp one there. Hopefully we can see the difference then. Angie, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say, but maybe there will be more. Okay, so I've got this one here, and then I've got a really, really light one, and I think this one's going to be too light for you guys to see, so I'm just going to stick on to this one here. So I've got my image, and I'm thinking we go with the blues that we haven't used. So these are kind of a purpley blues colour, and this is from Markerset C. And I'm making a mess just with, with markers. Okay, I was allowed to say, I was. So yes, more colours. So I have Caribbean Sky, Perusian Blue or Persian Blue, Persian, Sapphire, and also the Arctic there. So I am going to, because this is a solid image, I'm going to kind of guess where my bits are. So I'm going to say that this here is the base of my petal. If you wanted to, you could take a pencil before you start just to doodle in some lines, but I'm gonna go for it. So I'm gonna pretend that my base is there, and I'm just gonna flick upwards from there. Okay, so this is the Sapphire. I'm then going to go over with the Persian Blue. Again, I'm going to go from that base of the petal that we've just made up, and I'm going to flick further into that petal there. Okay. As you can see, this is really, really quick. I'm then going to take my Caribbean Sky, and I'm going to go all the way over this image because I think the Arctic may be a bit too light to cover the limestone. But that limestone is in fact getting a little bit bleached with the alcohol markers that we are using. So I have my first petal done, and that was easy and quick. So I'm then going to take my sapphire again, and I'm going to go around where that petal is. So I've just added a dark line just under the petal, under my fake petal, and I'm going to add a line here where I'm thinking maybe that's where the petal goes under that other one there. And again, I'm just going to flick outwards along those lines as well, and then move down. So this is Persian blue. Again, I'm going over the colour that we've already popped down, and I'm going further into that petal. And my flicks aren't straight when I do flowers. They're more of a curve. So hopefully we can see how that's going. I'm not going poker straight. I'm trying not to give it a poker straight line. The more of a curve that you give to your flicks, the greater the added depth and dimension it's going to look like. Okay, so that was my second colour. I'm then going to go to the Caribbean sky. Okay, colour over that. And then move on to the next petal. I'm thinking this one's going to go over that one. So I'm just going to add my little faux line in and add me a dark bit. See how quick this is when you get into it. Once you get your flick down, and I picked up the wrong blue. Oops. So I'm just going to add that line in there again with the right colour this time. Add my dark centre in, then move to the Persian blue. Go further in there. And then I'm taking the Caribbean sky to go over that whole that petal to blend everything out and pull it together. Okay. Hopefully we can start to see that there's kind of petals appearing there. I can do wrong all the time. Like I just picked up the wrong blue. Okay, sapphire again. So this one, these petals are kind of together. So I'm going to work out that I'm thinking that that one's going to be over that one. And that one over that one. It doesn't really matter how you do it, just as long as you kind of work out where you want to colour before you get on with it. So that is the sapphire, and it definitely was sapphire that time. Then I'm going into the Persian blue, further into the image, completely over the sapphire that we've just done, and then the Caribbean sky is going to go over all of those beautiful blues as well. So if you're worrying about getting any repeats in any of the sets, markers A, B, and C, do not fear. They are all completely different. So the blues in this set, in set C, are completely different to the ones in set B. A, sorry. I would say that these ones are more of a cool tone, and the ones in the marker set A have much more of a tealy, warmer shade. Okay. So that was the sapphire. I'm then going to go in with my Persian blue and then the Caribbean sky. Just going to go over that quickly. And then we just got the one more petal to do, and then we can add in the centre and maybe do some leaves. And I think I might turn this into a bud. So maybe it was supposed to be a leaf, but I'm definitely going to do that as a bud. So you can definitely play around with things. So I'm going to add a shadow along that edge there. That was the sapphire, Persian blue, and then the Caribbean Sky. I love this set because I love the different looks that you can get from it. You don't have to just use it as a solid image now. You can definitely colour it with your markers or any other colouring mediums that you do have to create beautiful effects there. I can't help myself. I just grabbed a blue, and it's not going to be the right blue because this is more of a warm blue, so I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to stop, I'm going to pop it down, and I'm just going to leave it. So I am going to create this into a bud. So I am going to take my sapphire again, and I'm going to say that this part here is going to be like a petal. So I'm just going to turn it so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go up from the center there, and I'm going to say that there is a petal, and I'm going to think that maybe it's coming around there as well. So I've just added in 2 really simple lines to the leaf to create a bud. So it's not a bud just yet, but it will be. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shading on that base there and there. So I haven't done much shading because it is a really small image, so I've just added a tiny bit there. Okay. I'm then going to take my Persian blue, and I'm going to go around the edge of this. I'm trying to do it so you can see, so I may need to move myself. So I'm just going to add that colour around there, and then go from that side. Add in some from that side and there too. So hopefully, I'll move this up. I've just added it round this edge and then up away from the line that we put in to pretend that it is a bud rather than a leaf. I'm then going to take my lightest colour and I'm going to go over it all, but I'm going to do it in stages. So I'm not going over the whole of the image because that will blend it all together. Instead, I'm pretending that this was one petal. So I've coloured that in. I'm then going to colour in this petal all by itself. And then this petal up here too. Okay. Maybe it needs a bit more of a blend. There we go. Okay. So hopefully we can see that that now looks more like a bud than a leaf. I think it was supposed to be a bud, but yeah, if it wasn't, it wasn't. Chris, I hope that you have fun. All right, so I'm now going to colour in my leaves, and I'm thinking I am going to go with grey leaves. Maybe not what you were expecting, but I'm going to go with grey leaves. But first, I'm going to colour in the centre of my flower. I wasn't just getting some random yellow colours to do my leaves. So I'm just using the bullet nib this time, just to add a couple of dots into the centre of that flower. And again, I'm just going to go over there. Okay. I'm going to go with some greys. So I have Moonrock, Evening Grey, and Morning Frost. These are all from the set B. So the ones with the purples, you get yellows and greys as well. And yes, they are, all of the pens are refillable, and we do have the refills available. I'll just grab one out because they are very, very sweet. And these are the refills. So this is for the Caribbean Sky, and they're really easy to refill. I don't actually have my tweezers with me, but I can show you how you would do it. You would take your pen. Oops. Then you can pull this nib out. So this is the brush nib. Nicole and us, we do recommend that you use tweezers, but you can in fact pull it out with a tissue if you need to. So just do that, and you can see that it's in there, and all I would need to do is take my refill and just add 5 to 6 drops into the top, and then I can refill my marker up, and then I would just pop the nib back in. So there is a video showing you how you can do it with a, I think of the word, Lydia, tweezers. So you can, I would recommend the tweezers, otherwise you do get ink all over your little fingers. Okay, so I'm going to use some greys now. I'm going to pop that out of the way. I got a little bit distracted. Sorry, everyone. And I am going to go with the moon rock. So I'm just going to colour in one of these stems because I just looked at the time and I realised that we are really getting on. So I am just going to take my moon rock. So this is the second darkest, but it's going to be my darkest. So I'm just going to go along that line. Add in the lines for the leaves first. Okay. And like I would for normal leaves, I would just add in a line, and then I'm just going to add a darker down my little vein. Okay. So I've just added a vein by just swiping down the center of the leaf, and I'm just going out from that. Then I'm going to take my next one down, which is evening grey. I'm just going to do that. I'm trying not to move my paper as much, so hopefully you can see what's happening. And then over it all, I'm always getting inky. If it's blue, it really likes me. So I'm just going to add the lightest colour all the way over that leaf. So this is the Morning Frost. And there we go. It's I think colouring is easy if you break it down into stages. If you first look at something and you think, I'm not going to be able to do that, don't think of it as a full piece. Think of it as like, that's just one petal. I'll do one petal and then I'll move on to the next petal, and it just builds up by itself. So don't worry too much about looking at something first and thinking that's way too much work. I wouldn't think of it like that. Just think of it as in pieces, and once all the pieces are done, it's like a puzzle. It's just going to work out that way. And Annalise, yes, but mine's definitely blue ink that attacks me. And as Aram says, it is easy. You just need to think of it bit by bit, and it will come together. As you can see, I've just done these really quite quickly, and it's created a really pretty effect, I think. Okay, so I'm going to pop you guys up now. It's getting late, and I'm so glad that we've made it to the end without the internet going funny, which is quite great. So I really do hope that you've enjoyed today, and if you do want any more information on the alcohol markers and inspiration, do check out our blog today, that we do have a great blog hop going on over there. So I'll just go quickly through what we've done. So we've done some quick marker colouring at the start, just using a normal technique where you just brush it out. Yeah. Thank you, Annalise. So that is some quick colouring. Then we did a bit more of the flicking colouring. So this one does take a little bit longer, but if you take it petal by petal, leaf by leaf, you will get there and it will be beautiful. I then showed that you can mix two different colours together that you may not necessarily think will go together. So if I was to do this in paint, that definitely would have mixed together to create a brown colour. So you can definitely get away with a lot more with alcohol markers with different techniques there. And then we created a beautiful little no line colouring effect using a solid stamped image. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. It's been lovely, and I'm so glad that our first YouTube live went as smoothly as it did. So thank you so much for being there and for commenting. We will pick a winner after this goes not live. and then post it in the comments. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy that many of you have said that you've learned a lot today, so it's really, really great. Thank you, Virginia. Love you. And I am gonna go. So thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you again really, really soon.